On behalf of okay, I'll start that again. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome you on behalf of the Parnell Business Association to this LinkedIn seminar. You know, we certainly noticed from last lockdown that businesses that actually worked on their digital strategy were so much better placed this time around. So we can only encourage all our businesses to really have a digital first strategy in terms of their business. So it's my great pleasure this morning to welcome Phil Dossett. He's from Engage Digital, which is situated on Parnell Road, if you don't know them. And he's going to talk about how you can turn LinkedIn into your very own prospecting machine. He'll take us through the advantages of getting on LinkedIn, how you can manage your profile, and then give some practical tips on how to automate the tedious task of connecting targets. So I'm going to hand over to Phil and we'll do questions right at the end. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Cheryl. Just as a way of introduction, Engage Digital is a digital marketing business. We focus on optimizing websites and building websites and what we call growth marketing. And growth marketing is a new word for essentially digital marketing, but for us it means that we focus on a holistic approach to the digital assets that we've got available, and in particular as it relates to this LinkedIn topic, we're focusing in on the sales funnel, and particularly the attraction stage and the engagement stage of a sales funnel. A lot of the tactics I'm going to go through today are more orientated to B2B, but they certainly have a place with B2C as well. So I'm going to cover optimizing your LinkedIn profile if you haven't done so already, finding ideal contacts on LinkedIn using advanced search techniques, and then how to simplify the outreach, making connections with people that you think you could be doing business with. But first up, why should we choose LinkedIn to focus on with our marketing? LinkedIn's been around for many years, and there's now something like 740 members in 200 countries. Little old New Zealand has over 2 million people on the platform. And the stats tell us that 40% of that market have a take-home income of over 70,000 per year. So they tend to be employed, perhaps looking for work, perhaps looking for advice for their careers, and certainly searching out business information. Millennials make up a big proportion of the group, 60% of the user base, and just under 40% have committed to LinkedIn by purchasing a premium account. So they're paying $40, $80 per month to be a LinkedIn premium member. Just some more stats here. So 39% of marketers see LinkedIn as a very good source of leads. So our counterparts are all seeing that LinkedIn is a very useful tool. B2B marketers in particular report that 80% of their social media leads can come from LinkedIn, versus Facebook and Instagram and so on. And 40% see LinkedIn as their most effective channel for driving high quality leads. In fact, a report from HubSpot here shows that it's one of the best social network for generating leads. So it's a good reason for us to be looking at it as part of our attraction or engagement strategy. And if you're not using LinkedIn a great deal, it's interesting to note that just under 50% of LinkedIn users are visiting several times a week, and obviously some a lot more than that. So a lot of us rely on it for information and are regularly visiting it. So let's get on and talk about, first up is optimizing your LinkedIn profile. And it starts with a well-designed profile and cover image for your company profile. So if you're in control of the company look and feel, then get on and improve that look. If it's not, get on to the person that is responsible for it and get them to update that look and feel. Perhaps Air New Zealand's not in the best state to show as an example this morning, but I put up their profile and note that they have an interesting cover image. They certainly have a nice, simple, they've used their logo in a nice, simple manner. And it's good. I see a lot of people using their detailed logo in this instance. It's better to use an icon so that when you're showing a post or whatever, that is actually still readable. Here's some other examples. You can use that cover image to show the lifestyle of your brand, the positioning of your brand. And like Engage is doing, you can certainly put copy and text on that image and explain what you do. With a brand like us, it's certainly not as well known as Nike or Adidas. So I want to tell people up front what we do and what you could get from us. Here's one of those examples that's not so hot. This icon won't be that readable in posts, and they're certainly hiding up some of their work, some of their words within their cover image and so on. LinkedIn makes it really easy to optimize your profile. It really is a matter of just working through the tabs within your setup to write up a good description, add what industry you're working in, add what services you provide your customers. So there should be no trouble in filling up every box, if you like. And indeed, one of the first things we should do when we're updating our own personal profile is starting with a good cover image. A lot of people don't even have their an image on LinkedIn, so it almost shows instantly that they're not involved, not participating. So certainly put up a good image of yourself. And then, like the company profile, you also have the opportunity to put up a cover image, a header image, as they call it. Here's one of my gurus that I follow, Neil Patel. He's an expert in our industry. And so, look, I follow, I'd suggest that you look up an expert in your industry and follow what they do. It's a good, see what's successful for other people. So I've done something, not too dissimilar for my own profile. Here's Cheryl's profile, and she's put an image of an event running in the background. So that's a good way of explaining what you do, what you're involved in. Now, you should pay special attention to your profile headline, and that's essentially where you put your job title. But along with the job title, you can put in the name of your company, articulate a unique selling point for what you do personally, and include relevant keywords for your industry. So again, here's my example. I've put my position, but I've explained that, and I'm positioning myself as a growth expert at Engage Digital. Here's some other examples, though. This headline, this part where you show your position could be text like generating growth for clients for 10 years through robust marketing initiatives. Or perhaps you're a real estate agent and you're pushing your position in the market and in the local area. So #1 Parnell real estate sales, for instance. So it's a good place to position what you're about and what's in it for the people that you're trying to talk to within LinkedIn. As I said, LinkedIn makes it really easy to complete your full profile. So they even give you a score. So it's just a matter of following their suggestions and make sure that you complete your total profile. It'll mean that you'll look that much more attractive within the LinkedIn environment. And that's whether you're marketing yourself or looking for a new job. So I'll move on now and talk about finding your ideal contacts on LinkedIn. It's a hell of a resource for searching and focusing in on the people that could benefit your business or you could contact as far as finding new clients. I'm going to talk about first up here the tools you'll need. So obviously we start off with the LinkedIn profile, and that's free. I really recommend taking on a premium account, because this is where you can use those advanced search tools. It comes at a price though, so that's around $90 a month. I'm sure some of you have already got a good CRM, a good contact relationship manager. You can find a good CRM for free, and that's so as we collect warm contacts within LinkedIn, we should be adding them to a CRM so that you can track your progress and track your engagement with the people that you're finding of interest. I also use the tool for sending contacts from LinkedIn to the CRM. Now that's an optional extra, and also using a outreach application, and again that's optional, but it's the third part of what I'm talking about today is simplifying and automating your outreach. So there's a little bit of cost involved, but it's it certainly can be worth it for generating good positive leads on LinkedIn. So I mentioned taking on a premium account, and the one I have is the Sales Navigator. I don't know, show of hands who's using Sales Navigator at the moment, but a few of you. But what that mainly gives me is this advanced search position, but it also gives you many other advantages over just the free account. So what we're going to look at now is running a search within LinkedIn, and I'm just going to jump over to my LinkedIn profile and just take you through running that search. So from my LinkedIn page, I'm going to hit Sales Navigator, which obviously I'm already a member of. And from here, I can run various searches. You can imagine with what I've been doing with LinkedIn, I've got many saved searches looking at various niches that I think might be attractive, might be attractive prospects for our business. But if I start a fresh search here, I've already got a few prepared ideas here, but for instance, I'll start with region. So I'm going to target Auckland. We can't, in this market, we can't get any narrower than Auckland. It'd be nice if we could choose suburbs, but I can choose a relationship. So in this particular setup, I've already contacted my first degree connections, of course, but perhaps I'm looking for people that I'm not first degree connections with. So I'm going to select second and third degree connections. In this particular example, I'm going to look at the building industry. So again, I can search for various industries that people have got their profiles under. So I'm going to choose building materials and construction. So people who are in the construction industry in Auckland, there's 23,000 of them. So you can see just in this in the items I've chosen so far, I've got 29,000 people that I could potentially search, but it's I need to narrow that down. That's too many for a nice targeted search. Next up, I'm going to look at say headcount, and I'm in this instance going to say it's going to approach sort of medium-sized businesses, so 11 to 50 people in that particular company. And another one that's going to really cut down the list for me is the title of the person I'm going to be approaching. So that'd be for the sake of this exercise, I'm going to look at, say, the chief executive officer or a owner. We'll say a general manager of a business. Now, I'd probably add a lot more into this, but just for this example, I'll leave it at that. But you can see I've already narrowed down that list of building and construction companies down to 327 contacts now. One thing I definitely do for my business, and I'm sure it'll apply to what you might be trying to do as well, is I'll try and exclude companies that I don't want to connect with. And so for this, we use a Boolean search within Sales Navigator. So this is a little bit trickier, but it's just a bit of code that you put in. So I'm saying I don't want to connect with these people. So I'm using not, and I don't want to talk to anyone who's got agency in their title, because they're probably a competitor. And I'm sure you've got your own examples of who you'd like to exclude. So I'm going to exclude agencies, and I'm going to exclude anyone with digital in their title, in their business title. And so I'm going to exclude anyone with, just look at my notes here, say design in their title. The actual list I use is quite long. I've got about 20 different types of businesses that I don't want to connect with, because they're likely to be a competitor. So I can even put company names in here as well, so that'll instantly exclude, say, some of the larger agencies that would pop up in a search otherwise. So I'm just, whoops, I've dropped out everybody from the list. That's interesting. Let's just exclude that for now, and I'll be back to my 327. I think I normally include a lot more titles and so on in this type of search, and that would keep that list to a positive number. So once I've added all those criteria, I select search, and those people are going to show on my Sales Navigator page. So you can see you can get quite precise with your searching, and you can even search by company. So I could search just by one company only and work out who I might want to approach within that particular business, more directly. So just flick back to our slides. So I explained there a few elements of how we'd actually search within LinkedIn, and Cheryl will be passing on this presentation to you, so you can certainly grab these notes, particularly around the Boolean search formula, if you like. And something else I do is also, for instance, when I was searching for, say, chief executives or general managers of a business, I can also exclude names from that search as well. So in this case, I was excluding freelancers, independent people, or unemployed people. Another really good area to search for within LinkedIn is by groups. So within LinkedIn, as you're probably aware, people will follow certain groups or join certain groups within LinkedIn. And for instance, here's 2 good groups that I follow, and then I'll use it within my search criteria. One is there's quite a few 10,000 members in this group, New Zealand SME Business Network. So a lot of people in that group. And then another good group for my business to follow was Marketing Association. But I'm sure within your own industries, you'll have very good groups to pick up and follow, and they form the basis of a really good search. So I can look up those searches, shorten the list by looking at, say, titles or headcount within that business, and then use that as my platform for the next stages that we'll be going through here. One thing that LinkedIn doesn't do is allow you to export the list that you're looking at. So you might have refined a list. It's a nice short list of people that you might want to look at and through other means. You can use a product like, and there's a number of these products out there, but a product like Phantom Buster. Again, they have a free plan, but that means you can load that particular app up, grab the search link from your search, and download that particular search list to a spreadsheet. So it's a very handy tool if you want to take that list and use it elsewhere. So the third topic here is simplifying outreach on LinkedIn. So a lot of this, a lot of the connection work, following up people and so on could be quite time consuming, but there are a quicker way to do this. So I use LinkedIn automation to optimize quite a number of tasks. So for instance, choosing a custom target audience that you want to outreach to, checking out and auto visiting profiles. So even visiting a profile will highlight to the person that you've visited that you've looked at their profile and shown some interest in them. And sometimes that sparks an interest from them back to you. It's certainly a good prerequisite to reaching out to them with a direct contact message. And so that's the next thing I do would be sending a contact request message. You can personalize messages based on certain fields. So the app that I'm going to show you in a moment uses you can add a special field behind each person that you've researched and use that in your communication so that you personalize the messages much more. You can connect with people that have interacted with your post or someone else's post. So there might be a highly popular post on LinkedIn, hundreds of connections with that post. You can actually connect to the people that have connected to that particular post with this automation. And then last but not least is the automation apps will give you a lot of stats about who's looked at your profile, how successful your messaging has been, and then look what your conversion rates are. Who connected to you, who engaged with the messaging that you sent, and who you should follow up on. So from a LinkedIn automation tool point of view, there are a number of products in the market. You might have all heard of Duck Soup, for instance. It's probably one of the first products to get involved with LinkedIn automation. These products like Meet Alfred, prospecting without the G at the end, and Expandi. There's a whole host. I mean, if you Google LinkedIn automation tools, you'll find all these types of products. I've used these, but there are many others, and I'm not. I'm going to talk to you about the product I use, which is Expandi, but feel free to look at these other products as well. Now I'm going to just check whether, when you're putting together a webinar like this and something comes and from left field. Well, my left field happening this morning was that Expandi, who are based in Europe, are in maintenance mode at the moment. So I was going to show you an actual demo of using it, but I'm just going to check whether they're back online or not. There might be some, no, they're still offline. So panic stations at about Hubba State, I've grabbed some screenshots of Expandi so I can walk you through some of the things I do on that product. Sorry. So what I do is use Expandi with Sales Navigator. It integrates with Sales Navigator. We'll start by, I'm going to walk you through some of the things we do, but obviously just through screenshots. We start by creating a connection campaign. We can add follow-up messages, and we can check out the connections and replies that we've received. So it starts with our outreach program that I'm showing you now starts with a connection request message. So that's the message you get when people want, request to connect with you. That they'll either send just a straight automated connection from LinkedIn, or they'll add a message with it. And I'm really advising that you add a message with a connection request. And it's about introducing yourself, explaining why you're trying to connect to them, but you certainly have to keep it quite short. And there's one thing about a lot of this communication, and why we focus in on that message about introducing ourselves. People are only interested in one thing, and that's what's in it for them. So that connection message should be about what they could get out of a connection with you. So this is jumping into these screenshots that I'm relying on. If I logged into Expandi, one of the first things I have to do when I set up is limit the amount of connections that I'll make during a day. LinkedIn has some very tight security measures about the amount of connections you can make in a given day, and that's obviously to stop spam or to stop abuse of their system. They've been limiting it even more lately, and I think it's down to about 30 connections, 30 connection requests a day that you're allowed to make on the system. But that's the beauty of the system, is that it handles that type of criteria, and you can set your own criteria within the setup. You can also set the days and the times during the day that that your connection requests will be sent out. So within my system, I'll set these to just weekdays, and I'll certainly only set it to during business hours. So in the next steps, when I set up the automation messages, they'll only be sent out during my predefined hours and days. One of the key things in setup for me is connecting Expandi to the CRM that I use. In this case, it's Pipedrive. So I can, within Expandi, I can tag a new connection with, I have a tag called add deal. If I tag a particular customer or contact with add deal, it automatically adds that person into my Pipedrive account. And then from there, I'll follow up with email and so on, or interact with them, or send them a proposal, or whatever it might be from there. One of the first parts of setting up that connection message is grabbing the saved search. So from the search that I did earlier on, I can look into this back into Sales Navigator, pull up that search, and what I do is I grab the URL from the search bar, from the URL bar within your website browser. So I grab this URL. This is what it looks like. So this is the actual search and all the criteria that we put in before, and I'll take that through to Expandi, start a new campaign, add in that link, and then Expandi automatically pulls in all those contacts from Sales Navigator into Expandi. And so then I'm going to use Expandi to outreach to that searched list of Sales Navigator contacts. So I found this GIF in my quick search this morning. So this is showing the first, or adding steps to an outreach program. So within Expandi, I'll add a connector message. I can set, then from there on, I set up a thank you message. I'm going to show you some of these messaging in the next couple of screens. But I'd add a connection message where I introduce myself and ask for a connection. If that person connects, then the system automatically sends them a thank you message. From there, once I'm now a first degree connection, I also put in other messages that are delayed. So 3 days later, I'll send another message. Perhaps a week later, I'll send another message to that person, all automated. At any one time that a person replies to me, that automation sequence pauses, and I have the opportunity to talk to that person directly with a direct personal message to that person. And at that time, I can choose to add them to another campaign, or I can reset the sequence of messages for that person. So they'll see the other messages that I intended to send them. So here's and within what Cheryl will send you, you're going to see these the messages that I actually send out to this particular campaign. So here's an example of the connection message that I'll actually use. If that search list was part of a group, I might send out a message like this. I'm certainly not going to be reading all of these, but the connection message is quite important. So I'm saying I came across your profile and would like to connect, and I explain why I want to connect with that person and what my business is about. I feel that if you're upfront, it's more important to be upfront and get a connection with someone that actually wants to talk to you than pretending otherwise and getting a false connection, if you like. So that this is the connection invite that I typically send, or a variation of it. I mentioned that I'll send a thank you follow-up, usually 45 minutes or an hour after they've connected, and you can set the timers for this within Expandi. So here's some, a simple thank you message, or a message for offering help. Perhaps 3 or 4 days later, I'll send another automated message to that new contact. In this message, I'm dropping in some helpful ideas and a link to a blog on our website. And in this particular case, 15 digital marketing ideas to transform any business. So I guess I'm setting myself with a degree of expertise and a willingness to help them in their business. And I think for whatever industry you're in. I mean, that's the idea here. It's not about selling. It's about showing your willingness to help, or your expertise in your market. You really are positioning yourself. As I say, these notes will be in what Cheryl sends you. Here's another note. So again, I'm sending some valuable content that I think will be useful for the people I've connected with. At some stage, you really need to get off LinkedIn. Otherwise, these messages will start to feel like spam. And so the whole objective of this is it's attraction and engagement, but then it's the conversion has to happen offline. It really has to, we're trying to initiate a meeting or a phone call or opportunity for a proposal. So whatever you do in this next step is really important. It's either park that contact or move them into some sort of business, an invite to something. For people in a B2C environment here, it could be inviting them to an event. So now that you've made them, now you've connected with them, they're a first degree contact, they understand what you do, you could be inviting them to a group event. The other great thing about these types of products like Expandi is that I find the messaging and looking after all the people that I've connected with a lot easier. So I can, within the system, I can filter the messages of all the people that have replied to me. And within a given couple of days or a given week, I might have 10 or 15 replies, or I can reply to those people directly from within Expandi. I can search for them. I can search for people that have just replied or have come from a certain campaign that I'm running or whatever it might be. Another good thing is I can see the stats of what I've been doing with those people, how many connection requests I've sent out, how many have replied, how many have read the other messages that I've sent them. Yeah, look, here's an example of one of those windows where you can message back and forth with people. And I do find it a lot easier within any of these products than it is within, say, Sales Navigator or LinkedIn itself. There's a lot of information you can see on screen too. So if I've seen someone replies, I can click on that person's name and I instantly see who I'm dealing with, what company they're with, where they live, and so on. And so this was a screenshot from the actual work that I do on Expandi. But that's just, it forms a great way to automate and simplify the outreach within LinkedIn. So that's it. But as a way of a quick summary, for B2B and those that need to create a personal connection to people, prospecting on LinkedIn is certainly a great way to go. You should start by making yourself stand out by optimizing your company and your personal profiles. I believe if you're serious about LinkedIn as a source, then Sales Navigator is a must, in particular using the advanced search function. If you're really going to outreach to a lot of people, then you really need to automate what you're doing. And so that's where products like Expandi come in. It's a strong need to keep things personal and not salesy. Keep your search groups small so that you can personalize the messages to the people you're outreaching as much as possible. And whenever possible, or at the soonest possible moment, take that conversation off LinkedIn and off email and into an actual discussion and into an actual phone call or a meeting. But it's a great way to put your lead generation on autopilot. there's a lot of input you'll have to do, but a lot of the grunt work is automated, and it makes outreach a lot easier. So that's prospecting on LinkedIn from me. Cheryl, have we open for questions or?
Yes, absolutely. Thanks so much, Phil. That really was an in-depth discussion, and I think takes LinkedIn way beyond most of our usage of LinkedIn. Would you like to just stop sharing your screen, and then I'll open for any questions, and feel free to type questions in the chat if you like. Well, I have one question. You never touched on LinkedIn as a vehicle to prospect for jobs. How effective do you think it is?
I guess I'm not in a position where I'm looking for work, but
neither am I.
But it's interesting from my point of view. I get a lot of ads come up or job options come up for me because of the way I've listed my profile. So LinkedIn will automatically send me invites to apply for, a marketing manager job or a digital director job or whatever it might be. So the more and more you optimize your profile, the more and more you're going to see opportunities like that are targeted directly at you. And LinkedIn makes it really easy to apply for those jobs as well, because it uses the information on your profile as the starting point.
So when you're actually setting up your profile, you really need to do a bit of SEO research to just make sure that you're using words that you want to be found for.
Absolutely. It's another big topic is SEO keyword research, but it's usually pretty obvious that the words that apply to yourself or to your industry. And as I say, the other aspect of setting up your profile was choosing certain categories that LinkedIn has already predefined as well. So, in my industry, you can choose website design, you can choose digital marketing and so on to add to your profile.
Okay, cool. Any questions from anyone else? Okay, this is from Kerry. Hi, Phil, I enjoyed your presentation. How do you split things between your company profile and your own personal profile? Is your outreach communications coming from your personal profile? Question mark.
Yeah, that's a good question. Frankly, I find LinkedIn is all about your personal profile. It's all about people. It's not about companies as such. Whenever you're looking at LinkedIn, you're trying to connect to people, not companies as such. You can certainly create account lists, which are business, company lists of companies that you want to approach. But I think the thing about LinkedIn is it is about contacts and people. One point to note is that if you're posting on LinkedIn, you can't boost a post from your personal profile. You have to do that from a company profile. So if I've just written and if you go to my profile, I've just written a blog, added it to my website, I'll push that blog through our company profile, because then I can boost and push out people actually seeing that post within LinkedIn. And then from my own profile, I'll share the post that I've put on the company profile. A little bit complicated, but it's the way to go. But by the way, I'm happy, if anyone wants more detail about what we've just gone through, I have a document that will step you through it, so you really can do this on your own. But I'm also happy, obviously, to help. But just reach out to me, and I'll give you that detailed self-help document as well. And you'll also get a copy of this presentation.
Okay, Phil's just frozen a bit. You there, Phil? You back, Phil?
Just Andrew to ask a question. Look, I'm not reading all the detail of Andrew's note, but it's certainly LinkedIn and Sales Navigator hooks into a CRM like HubSpot's, and it's, you know, that's very integrated with HubSpot. Andrew was saying that he needs to outreach to people in other countries, and obviously it's very good for targeting Pacific countries or Pacific cities or whatever around the world.
Okay, guys. Well, thank you. To be good and well in time, and we'll look forward to sending this to you. Abby will send a link to the recording as well as Phil's presentation. And thank you so much for attending, and have another good day in lockdown.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay.
Phil, are you still there? Is it possible to ask one quick question? Or Cheryl, do you know if Phil is still there?
Oh, sorry, Phil's gone, guys. Sorry.
Okay.
I'll put you in contact.